Hi, my name is Austin Chadwick, and I'm here with Aaron Griffith and Parker Barrett, and we are doing our session on human and AI collaboration in mob programming, exploring test automation. Without further ado, we'll jump right on into the agenda. What you got for us, Aaron?
Right on. Thanks, Austin. So we're going to start off with a talk, a short presentation. We'll explain a little bit about what mob programming is and how we use it. Then we'll go into how we started using AI almost day to day. And additionally, we'll explain how we use AI to supplement our test-driven development. And we'll go a little bit over the zombies acronym and how we use that, or how we use that in addition to AI to supplement our testing. And then we'll cover some of the limitations and warnings, kind of the gotchas that can sometimes get you with AI. After that, we'll have a short demo. We're going to be using Flutter. We'll cover some of the zombie cases, and then we'll do a little bit with a pipeline. And then after that, we'll do some questions.
Awesome. So kind of kick us off here, a little bit of introductory material. So this picture here shows basically what kind of my career has been over the years. So I started off very much in the kind of silo realm where I had a job title that was very much either dev or ops or QA or sec, and even in departments or teams that were segregated that way. And then, so I'd often be testing alone in that kind of fashion. And then later on in my career, I got to try out being on the same quote unquote team where we would, so to speak, collaborate, but it was kind of more like, if we were on the same sports team, someone would pass the ball, they'd throw the ball up in the air at 8 a.m. and then someone would pick it up 8 hours later. So it's not quite as tight as a collaboration as you might think of as a team, but it was certainly better than where it was before. We could resolve bottlenecks quicker because we communicated more often, whether it was in stand-ups or things like that, to kind of pass off tasks and kind of throw them over the wall. And then over time, I came to experiment with, do some training in, and then, dive into the deep end and do this thing called mob programming, where instead of just being on the same quote unquote team, we're on the same mob, which feels more like a sports team as how you typically think of it, where you have all the different skills, whether that's ops, dev, QA, sec, all on the same mob, all interacting on the same computer. And so if you're testing, why not test with friends? And that kind of leads to one of the community definitions from Woody Zuhl, which is mob programming, all the brilliant minds working on the same thing at the same time in the same space and on the same computer. And so in that fashion, so we would be testing together, so we would collaborate together to write some code, and then either in a test-driven fashion, write automated tests that go with it, and then do some manual exploratory testing as we go, and then release the whole thing to production that day often, or into a production-like environment. And that to kind of get to the more crux of our talk, if it was great to test with human friends, why not AI friends? And so why not, with all these humans, add a AI bot to the party and see what that's like. And so to kind of share how that started for us for me, Aaron, and Parker and our mob, I will kick it on over to Aaron to kind of tell the origin story, so to speak.
Yeah, so it all started when Parker joined the team. Austin and I had been on the team for a while and kind of knew each other's style. Parker came on as a new employee, and we had just sort of kind of started dabbling with the AI a little bit. And, some of us, mainly me, were skeptical about some of the hallucinations and things like that. But Parker had a really good idea one day, and he pitched it really well. And kind of the catchphrase that got us all excited about it was, he said, "You got to risk it to get the biscuit." And so that kind of became our mantra when it came to using AI day to day. It's like, we got to risk it. Let's just do this and figure it out.
Nice. And, why risk it for the biscuit matters for this talk is because experimentation leads to learning and innovation. And one great thing about teaming or mobbing together is you get to try each other's ideas. And even if you, you have reservations about it, you get to try them. It's a great kind of, principle of psychological safety to try out something, even if you have reservations. So we would make any experiment safe and then try it out. And so, so in your journey for innovation and experimentation and R&D and growth, sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit. So make it safe and then try out the crazy idea and see how it goes. And I can say for us, it went really well. I learned so much from it, and it really amplified our development in many ways. And so, Parker, how did you see the impact to our team and mob from AI joining the team?
Oh yeah, thanks, Austin. So just thinking back to like when we first started using it, we were doing test-driven development and everything, but we wanted to try out some of the newer AI tools. And when we were doing it, we kind of just like at first we were throwing stuff at it and just trying to see like what it would come up with. And as time went on, we kind of got better at using it, better at kind of like prompting it to give it more and more kind of targeted prompts, because you can't like just give it your whole code base like all at once, and just like keep like shotgunning it. It just doesn't quite work like that way with the context, right? So we did see kind of like maybe the accuracy of our prompts got better over time. I did notice that the speed and like our efficiency got better. So like when we could use the AI to like solve things that like we necessarily didn't know off the top of our head. Like, so if you're working in like a new framework or a context, but something else that's similar, you can kind of like ask it and prompt it that way. So we'll show some of that in the demo a little bit, but yeah, I think that sums it up.
Right on. And kind of getting to that coverage that the AI would help us with, something comes to mind with this really weird term, zombies. What does zombies mean to you, Aaron, and how did it apply to us with AI?
Yeah, so for me, zombies is the acronym I learned about from James Grenning. And it's just kind of a nice acronym to help you remember sort of different testing strategies. The Z being zero input, O, one input, M, many, B are the boundary behaviors, I would be interface, E is to exercise exceptional behavior, and the S is for simplicity. Keep your scenarios and your solutions simple. And we kind of use that acronym before we were supplementing with AI, but once we added the AI, we were able to use it even better.
Nice. Yeah. So, in the zombies with AI, just like asking another person to think of different boundary cases, the AI would come up with ones we didn't think of, which was quite awesome. But it's all not, flowers and roses and everything's beautiful. Just like this warning sign here, attention when you're collaborating with the robot, there are some risks and some concerns and things to worry about. And so, I guess starting with me, some things that I ran into that were that are concerns with AI. So things to watch out for and keep in mind as you interact with the bot in your teams. One is solving problems bigger than a bread box. It can tend to struggle with, and over time it's gotten better with this. But even what we saw with it on day one, where I think part of the risk it for the biscuit story with Parker was over the weekend, he was texting us saying like, oh, this thing can build our whole app. And that did turn out to be true, but it wasn't true when you tried to give it like an entire like complicated business problem all at once. So if you said like, okay, here's the business problem, make an app that solves all of it, it started to struggle because it would like come up with part of it and then it would start to step on itself and then it'd only give part of the answer and then you'd have to like kind of like piece together multiple answers. And so one thing to watch out for is to kind of chunk problems for it. So, find that happy medium where it's not so simple that basically by just Googling, you'd find like the top result would give it to you super easy. So you want to go a little bit bigger than that, but you can't go too big where it can't handle it because it's too complex. And so there's that kind of like that happy medium spot where it provides insights that would take me maybe a couple hours of Googling, that it will find in a couple, like a seconds or a minute, but not too big, because then it starts to struggle. Another area is, if your company is concerned about data and like, non-disclosure or, data that belongs only to your company and that getting out and being trained off of for other people to use and bots and things like that, there's settings you can do in the various tools to lock that down and not allow it to train off of it. Or sometimes companies will provide bots. So for example, in many companies, Office 365 login, you get Copilot that comes along for it, and then your company data is protected within that. Let's see some other things. Yeah, it is using some people have said it's the most average programmer in the world, right? And so I think it's better than that as far as like, coming up with insights for, combination of tech stacks and problems. It seems to be better than average for that. But where it is that for sure, in my mind, is refactoring. So unless you ask it to very explicitly, it will provide very, not terrible code, but definitely not clean or testable or modularized or solid or those kinds of things. So you got to follow up with that. And hallucinations was the other one for me. One time I asked it for, I'm reading this book. What are some book quotes from this book? And it gave some answers that looked really good at first. It was like, oh yeah, for this book, here are like top 10 quotes from this book. And then I realized, like, wait a second, I can't find these quotes in this book. And then I asked it, where did you get these quotes from? And it said, I made them up because I don't know what book that is. I'm sorry. And it likes to apologize, right? And so if it, because the book came out after the training data it was made off of or something like that. And so if it doesn't know an answer, it will make up one, and a convincing one at that. So something to watch out for. So maybe I'll kick it to you, Aaron, then Aaron, you can kick it to Parker for other things to be on the watch out for.
Sure. I'm gonna jump on the hallucinations bandwagon with you there. That's the one that to me is the most interesting, and it's for a couple of different reasons. The first reason is it's funny, like especially when it's very obvious that the AI is confused, and then you can tell right away that you're getting bad information, and that's actually kind of the better case you want. This more scarier case is when it gives you an answer that's a hallucination, but it's plausible enough that you believe it, and maybe you even run with it for an hour or two before you're able to realize that it gave you bad information. So those are one of the things you have to watch out for, that is not necessarily funny when it hallucinates. And also, like when it's wrong, and you tell it that it's wrong, it kind of will go into people pleasing mode, and it'll just start to give you the answers that it thinks you want. So you have to be careful about that and how you write your prompt. And again, like Austin said, it'll apologize, and that's always interesting when the AI apologizes to you. But that's probably the big gotcha for me. What do you got, Parker?
Oh yeah, thanks, Aaron. Okay, so just to piggyback on that a little bit, with the kind of like the hallucinations and the code quality and whatnot for the prompts. One thing I have noticed is once you get like your test setup right, and like you generate like a couple, so like you just handwrite or generate a couple of like really good solid tests. If you want to expand on that from like, maybe 5 or however many you're doing to like a whole bunch, it's really good at following the pattern and expanding them as you go. It saves you a ton of time. So that's like something to look for. But you do want to be careful, because if there's like a problem with your code, the AI is happy to like continue the problem and repeat it, because it thinks like that's what you're going for. So you gotta watch out for that. And the other thing too is, the model knowledge is not always up to date. So if you are working in a framework or something that's like ahead of the model, then your completions might not be like super great, because it just won't have like the latest and greatest knowledge, right? But if you're a little bit behind the model, it's does pretty well. So I think that's kind of like the main things I was thinking of.
Nice. Yeah, and some things that popped in my head after what you guys said was, if it is behind, many of them can search. So you can say, hey, can you search the latest documentation and update your answer, or, things like that. So it can go scan the internet and learn more. And then one wonderful thing about AI with code is that if you have a safe place to experiment, you can learn if it's wrong really quickly, as opposed to if it were giving you information on something that you can't test quickly, then it's much more dangerous. Where if you can run the code in a safe space and find out if it's true or not quickly, then all the, the hallucinations or wrong things it tells you, you'll find out pretty quickly. And what I've noticed is it's usually about 80% right. And so, which is still quite helpful, but you just got to be on the lookout for the 20% it gets wrong sometimes. So awesome. So we're going to be jumping into a demo pretty soon. And in that demo, we're going to be using some technologies and tools. And Parker, yeah, you want to give us a quick overview of these?
Sure. Yeah. So on our station, when we start this demo, you're going to see us using Flutter, Android Studio, and GitHub Copilot. So we're going to have Copilot like in Android Studio as a tool. It's signed in with like our Microsoft license. And then we might do a little bit in the browser too as well. So we'll have like the code completions, like when you're just typing in the IDE, if you write a comment or something, it completes the next line of code. And then there's also like chat window and stuff where you can like copy paste stuff in. You'll get to see that. And then Flutter, I think we're using the latest Flutter in Android Studio, so it should be good to go as far as that. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And Flutter is basically a way to write code once in one programming language, which is Java-like, but it's its own language. It's kind of like JavaScript and Java had a baby, basically, is how it feels to me, layman's perspective. But you write the code once and it'll deploy to, it can make a website, it can go to Android, it can go to iOS, mobile. And so it's kind of one of those write once, deploy everywhere kind of style tools. And so that can be quite fun and engaging. And so, yeah, we're going to turn it over to a AI mobbing demo here in a minute, but just to kind of give a preview of what we're about to do. As Aaron was talking about earlier, we are going to be generating a FizzBuzz Flutter app with unit tests. So I believe the way Flutter starts out, it's like this counting app that just counts 1, 2, 3, 4, how many times you click the button. We're going to be using AI, and we're going to mob together with AI to turn it into FizzBuzz, which is more of a kata, like some, you can train on it, you can use it in interviews, but it's basically a way to practice your coding skills and practice test-driven development or practice anything, solving this kind of small toy problem about inputs coming in and, a number comes in and then out comes fizz, buzz, or the combination of fizz, buzz, depending on what kind of number it is. It's divisible by certain numbers of things. So what we'll be doing with that is we'll be starting with Copilot chat prompts. So kind of talking to it as, on the side in the side of the IDE. And then later, after it generates that app with some unit tests, we'll be using autocomplete to come up with some of those zombies we were talking about later. So maybe some boundary cases or tests that didn't, it tends to generate happy path tests out the gate, which isn't sufficient for production often. So we'll use kind of Copilot's autocomplete to get there. We plan to also do some AI-assisted refactoring and naming, and then also some pipeline generation and refinement for CI/CD, continuous delivery, continuous integration. And we'll probably be using chat prompt on the side of the IDE for those two. So without further ado, we will switch over into the demo. And what we have up on the screen now is a mob timer that kind of helps facilitate the session with who's driving, who's controlling the computer, and then who's navigating, who's primarily saying what to do next, and then who else is just part of the discussion, but will soon, in a matter of minutes, become the driver or navigator. So I will go ahead and start the session. And before I ask for your navigation, Aaron, I'm just going to give a little bit about the environment. So we have our kind of main Dart Flutter file here with some tests. The tests do run and pass. It is just the counting app. And we do have a simulated Android phone here to deploy to. Yes, so what would you like to do first, Aaron?
I would just ask it to create the whole app and make sure we tell it what application we're using.
Okay. A Flutter FizzBuzz app with, would you like unit tests with that?
Yes, please.
All right. All right. How's that look, y'all?
That looks good.
All right. Let's see what it does. So it's got the main file here. And one thing to note as it's generating this is there's no scripted demos when you're mobbing with AI. It is going to come up with something different every time. So what you're seeing here is us improving as the AI is improving. So what would you like to import first? We have kind of its main file. It looks like it has here, Aaron, with kind of the main UI elements. There is a test file with some tests. And then there appears to be 2 test files potentially. Oh, no. One is kind of like its FizzBuzz class engine. So yeah, what would you like to do first, Aaron?
So let's start with main.
All right, you got it. So we're going to pop on over and I will copy the contents and I will replace main here. It has no compile errors, which is good. All right, what would you like to do next?
Well, just for fun, can we see if the tests even run?
Oh, sure. You want me to bring the tests over? That sounds good. So it looks like that is the main FizzBuzz engine. So let me copy the tests and we will paste them here. And there is an import issue. It's probably just because we've changed the names of things. Let me see if I can import it for you. Okay, it seemed to like that. You want me to try to run tests?
Yeah, let's see if we get anything.
And it fails. That might be because, Aaron, because I don't think we made the class yet for FizzBuzz. I think it uses that.
That's awesome. That's why we test drive it.
Nice. That was part of your evil plan. Very good. Would you like me to make that file?
Yeah, let's go ahead and give it what it's asking for.
Nice. And in this case, I want a Dart file, I believe. What do you want to name this file? Just FizzBuzz?
Yeah, I like that as a good first naming.
Okay. Add it. All right. Let's see. I don't know what that issue is, but I don't know if it'll be a problem. Okay. What would you like me to do next?
Let's see if we can run the test now.
All right. We run and we still failing. 0 widgets found with the text FizzBuzz. Okay. Well, it didn't quite work out of the box. Maybe we didn't follow the instructions, but that is a problem you can hand off to Mr. Parker.
Okay, let's see. So we have widget test.dart. Did it give us a name? Did Copilot give us a name for the FizzBuzz class? Let me double check that. It'd be at the top of this little box here. FizzBuzz test Dart. Okay, so maybe that's interesting. This file contains the unit test for FizzBuzz logic. Oh, that was the above, maybe? Okay.
Ah.
So that's kind of, it's like, not quite sure about that.
Oh, I think I misinterpreted that it's not a library class, FizzBuzz. This is like its own test suite. It did it all together. You see that?
Yeah, right. So they have the FizzBuzz solution in here, and then there's like a test suite down here. Yeah, it's like strange, right? So that's why they put it in like FizzBuzz underscore test.dart. Like, you see that? Like, see how it's like in the test folder?
Yes.
Kind of weird, huh? How about we fix that? Let's say ask it to split the FizzBuzz class into its own file, and then the FizzBuzz tests into their own file. Cool.
Oh, wow, look at that terrible misspelling I did there.
That's
And usually the AI is pretty good at interpreting misspellings.
For sure.
there it is. Okay. Cool.
So you want to start with this one?
I think so. Yeah. Let's do that. So that one will be fizzbuzz underscore test.dart in the test folder. I guess like right click, do new file or copy or whichever way. Dart file. It's like down here. Yeah.
So this is fizzbuzz underscore test.
Yeah.
That Dart.
Yeah.
Does it need the extension since it knows it's already a new Dart file? I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Cool.
And then paste.
Looks good. Maybe drop this here, that line, because we'll use the importer from the IDE, probably help us out. And then if you like control dot or alt enter, yeah, there it is. Perfect. Okay. So it knows where that is. And then it seems okay in here. It seems like the IDE thinks there's a problem, but maybe not. How about in fizzbuzz dart in here? Can we delete this like void main? I don't think we need that. Here we go. And then there's an extra bracket. Okay. Cool. Any better? Like, do you want to try running the test? It says there's an error, but maybe there isn't one. Maybe the IDE is like behind. Oh, I think that one just opens and closes this. I think it's this green button.
And your test scope may not be the tests you're intending to run, because I think there's 2 test files, just as a heads up there. So if you want to start with the smaller tests, you can start with the ones in fizzbuzz.test there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and go into that, Parker.
Okay.
Go into the Dart. Let's just run these, because this is kind of like the lower level, like isolated, non-sociable tests, and those are happy, which is good. So is that kind of what we expect? 3 is fizz, 5 is buzz, fizzbuzz is 15, 16 is 16. That's good. I don't always trust tests out the gate. So can you go into the fizzbuzz.dart and let's just break something here. Change that to, I don't know, fizz dude or something. Fizzy or fizz dude, right? And go ahead and run the test, see if it catches the problem. Muy bien, muy bien. Excellent. So you can put that back. Cool. So we kind of got like our low-level isolated tests working well, at least from like a happy path perspective. So go ahead and rerun this. We're back to green.
Okay.
And
So like a run all tests.
for now, just run the ones that are here, just to know that, okay, those tests are green.
Okay.
And now let's go to the widget test.dart. So this one's like trying to run the whole app. It kind of almost looks like an end-to-end test, but from what we know about Flutter, it's like simulating it running in real life. But it's actually all in memory and it's a fast test. So let's run this, and we're still having a problem. And it said it's expecting to find a widget with the text fizzbuzz, and it did not find it. Do you mind seeing what line of code it did that on? So if you see, is it like here? Like click on that. Let's see. Okay, so not bad. So I'm wondering if this is a real bug or not. I'm kind of curious. Let's run the app manually, and let's see what it does with one in all these different cases. Yeah, so if we run it, and then you got to open up the phone here.
Yeah. All right.
And there it goes. Here's our app up and running. We have a failing unit test, but maybe this is good. So let's go ahead and hit generate fizzbuzz. Oh, you see what it did here?
Okay.
So it instead of kind of what I think we were thinking in our head, of it having like an input box, and then you put in a number, and then it'll spit out the correct output. It generated the whole thing.
Yeah, I like that.
So no wonder it kind of like went to generate the whole thing. So I say let's go to the chat and say, can you please change the app to basically be what I just said, Parker? So to have one input text field where you put in a number, and then it will output the appropriate FizzBuzz output on the screen. Yeah. We warned before we started that it will it will come up with different things every time. So it's almost like we paid it, we bribed it to do the said thing. So yeah, let's see. So now let's change it to do that. And yeah, you're kind of saying what not to do. So Parker is a very experienced prompt engineer, I would say. And the more specific you are with your prompts, the better it gets and the more context you get. One cool thing about the kind of Copilot or the GitHub Copilot is it can read the code in the IDE, so you don't have to give it literally all the context, but it should get you a lot of the way there. Okay, so it has some output, and what would you like to do, Aaron, with this output? Start from the top. Okay.
I'd say let's start with main.
Okay.
So I feel like that's where that's our production code there.
Okay, so it's saying please enter a valid number, and then hopefully it'll generate. Okay, let's go over to main, and I will just select all, paste, and then I will rerun these unit tests just to show that kind of the FizzBuzz class itself is still good. Yeah, okay. Do you want to run the whole thing next, or do you want to try to update the tests first? What would you like to do?
I think I'd like to run the whole thing first just to see that we're getting the behavior we want.
Awesome.
Oh,
All right.
you had to change the little drop-down box.
Oh, wow. Yeah, thank you. So we'll go back to main Dart, I hit play. Okay, I think it's recompiling.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, cool. So 5, that's correct. What is the other one? Divisible by 3 is 15. Okay, donkey. It's saying, yeah, you're okay. Cool. What would you like to do next, Aaron?
I'm pretty happy with this, just with the base functionality and the tests. I think I'd like to throw some zombie questions at it.
Nice.
So
One real quick spot check before you get there is I'm not sure if our widget test, I don't think it gave us a new widget test for the whole app. You think we should update that first?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So which one? Oh, so it was the FizzBuzz test that is the one that passed. Okay.
Yes, this one passed, which is basically just testing the class it uses to generate FizzBuzz. But testing the whole app is yeah. Yeah, so I can ask it to regenerate that. Can you please rewrite these tests for the new UI? Okay. Awesome. Okay, so it did one happy path. Oh, it did a few cases, all kind of in one giant test. How does that sound, Aaron?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Stuff in there.
Boom. It's probably going to have an import issue. Well, actually, I don't know what this issue is. Undefined text field. Try material. Okay. Okay. I think it's happy now. You want me to run?
Yeah, it's still squiggly red, but that might just be the linker. Yeah.
Okay. Found 2 widgets with 2. Okay. I think it made this error last time we used it. So it's finding 2 more than once because 2 is the thing we put in. And so the input's still going to be on the screen. Right?
Okay. So yeah, let's get back to doing the test here. Okay. So how about we have you run the test real quick, Aaron?
Right on.
Okay. I think what we're seeing here is that the test is showing us that there's more than one widget with the text of 2 being found. So why don't we see if Copilot can figure that out? Let's copy what's in here in the output and just feed it to Copilot and see what it says.
Is that enough?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and while it's generating that, I'll ask a question there, Parker. Like, when is it good to just like throw the error output at the bot, and when is it not to? Like, kind of what's your thought process there on methodology?
So sometimes like it can be helpful, like if you get an error message that it'd be nice to like have it broken down for you. That could be really helpful. The other times is like if you like really have no idea like what the error message is trying to tell you. Sometimes there's something in the Copilot like training data. Somebody might have put something in there before that is like a similar problem. And so rather than like trying to like scour the internet for the right Stack Overflow, maybe Copilot has seen it before. So sometimes you can get lucky, which we've certainly had that happen a couple of times. So just to repeat that one more time, it's like if it'd be nice to have it broken down for you so you can better figure out the error, that would be nice. Or sometimes you just happen to have the one thing that Copilot knows that's on the internet in some weird Stack Overflow that take you forever to find. So yeah,
Nice.
usually those would be probably a couple of times I would do that. But how we do here? Did it give us anything?
Yeah, I pasted it in there and reran the test. And
Oh, okay.
Just a little unhappy with us.
Okay. Found 2 widgets with text 2, huh? Okay. So yeah, so sometimes if you give Copilot the error, it doesn't really interpret it like perfectly. So maybe here we'll just help it out and we'll do like let's tell it that tell Copilot that we want the test instead of finding just one widget. We're gonna say that there's probably 2 widgets because one is the number 2 we've entered in the text field.
So we would like the test to find 2 widgets.
2 widgets
in the last assert. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So I've had some really good experiences with giving it the error and it troubleshooting it really well. And usually when the error is the same after a few tries, like we've kind of seen here, that's when it's good to adjust. And that's kind of like exactly what's happening here. Yeah. So now
Yeah, so finds n widgets of 2. Okay.
Perfect. Right on.
Yeah, not too bad.
Nice. Well, maybe next up, Parker, if you want to start navigating the autocomplete version of Copilot to make a zombie test.
Sure. Yeah, we could try that. All right, let's see. How about maybe in here we're okay? Maybe like let's do in the FizzBuzz section. Oh, this is the FizzBuzz test section, huh? So we have this just to test different cases. Well, what do you think, Austin? Should we do it in here or should I be doing it in the other test?
That sounds great. Let's do it here. Yeah, let's yes and to that. So like on line 11 and a half, Parker, can you have it do a comment. So this is how you like talk to the bot. So just to prove that we're talking to the bot, can you say, hi, Copilot, how are you? I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Okay, great. So to go next line, and then you can just say, can you generate me some more tests, please? Following the zombies acronym. Zombies approach or acronym is good. And then maybe in parentheses, just to help it out a little bit, since we're a little bit low on time for demonstration. So in parentheses, you can just write, oh, look at that. It knows it. Never mind. So yeah, tab that out. Yep. And let's see what it does. New line and see if it comes up with some more tests. Let's start with 0. Yeah, sure. Just follow its lead. Okay. Yeah. All right, so to run that, you have to switch to run the tests in this file, right? And let's see if that works. Cool. And in prior practice sessions with the demonstration, we learned that 0 is in fact mathematically divisible by both 3 and 5. So yeah, just keep going. So yeah, let's see what it comes up with for all the zombies here. Let's do the mini. Okay, cool. Yeah. Wow, it did a lot there. I like it. See if that all passes. Cool. Yeah, just keep auto-completing, Parker, as we go. So now it's saying, let's test with the boundary. Don't write test. Let's just see what it comes up with. We just wait, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
bottom right. Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead and let it do it again. I think you just have to new line. Or did it auto-complete that? Oh, so this is what it thinks is boundary. Okay. So if you put in...
Is that the same as before? I don't know.
Oh, I think what it means by boundary here
Yeah.
is like the boundaries between jumping between fizz and buzz. I think that's probably fine for now, but let's guide it a little bit. Well, actually, let's see what it does for exception. So let's, instead of say, now let's test with interface, let's do now let's test with exceptional. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what it comes up with there. Cases, yeah. All right. So you're auto-completing that. Yeah, -1, -3, 15. Yeah, run that. Let's see what it does. And let's go ahead and add one to that list. On 77.5, can you make the input not a number? Does it allow you to do that? Like, the word dude as the input or something weird?
It expects a int.
Oh, okay. So we'd have to do that in another test. So maybe more like the app level, because at the app level, you can type anything into the input box. But I think that's kind of good for now, as far as like a demonstration of it generating zombie cases. So I'm pretty happy with that, with the negatives. So you can kind of stop there, and maybe the next thing we'll get onto is let's start refactoring. So in the chat window on the right, let's do some refactoring to see how refactoring works with the bot. So maybe the navigation could be something like, can you rewrite these FizzBuzz tests to kind of follow the BDD syntax of should blank, when blank, to be more expressive. What do you think about that navigation, Aaron?
Yeah, I like it.
These tests in, and then I'm just going to grab the name of the file so it doesn't get confused. Let's see, where's the, oh, copy. Yeah, okay. FizzBuzz test up there. Nice. To follow the BDD syntax of.
Can we just give it the syntax and see if it knows the format like it did know zombies?
Okay, so here I'll finish writing the full prompt, and then you tell me which part to take out to test its knowledge.
Let's rewrite these tests in FizzBuzz test start to follow the BDD syntax.
Okay, all right. BDD, yeah, let's see. All right, generating. when it with. So it did come up with so it made describe blocks, which is pretty interesting.
Let's do the original one because I think it did. I think it could do better than that.
Okay. Yeah. So it did follow a BDD syntax, but maybe just not the one we were thinking of.
Right.
Should and I'll spell it right. Cool. Right on. Let's see what it comes up with this time.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, this is kind of more along the lines as what I was thinking. But did it remove some zombies though in the process?
Ooh, yeah, maybe.
All right.
And no describe blocks this time.
Yeah. So maybe one suggestion is keeping all zombie tests with each part of zombies in their own describe block. Is that kind of what you're shouting out, Parker?
Yeah, that might help.
Okay. All right. Suppose 0, 1. Okay, so it's like combining both worlds, the zombie world. Any other iterations before we try that, Aaron?
I like that. Let's go with that for now.
All right, cool. So paste, and then we'll rerun. Oh, dang, look at that. Okay. Nice. All right, right on. Yeah, any other refactoring you want to try, Aaron, or you want to jump to kind of more pipeline generation at this point?
Yeah, let's try the pipeline.
Okay, cool. All right. So how would you like to generate a pipeline for our, snazzy app here?
Let's just ask it. How would we implement CI using YAML? I know that's pretty broad, but
Yeah. Implement a CI/CD pipeline using, oh, yeah, you can kind of finish your thought there, Aaron, unless you have any other guidance there, Parker.
No, it's okay. Yeah, keep going. Want to see.
In context.
It's going to do like GitHub actions or something. Okay. It's interesting.
Nice.
Check out, set up loader, run test, build APK, upload APK. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. All right. What did it actually give us?
let's take a look.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, do you want to put that into a new file? At least probably run out of time to actually execute this somewhere, but we can at least kind of see the layout. What are you thinking, Parker?
Yeah, let's do that. I guess create that at the root of the AI folder.
What I was thinking.
Okay.
And what did they call it? Flutter.yaml?
Sure. Okay.
Look at that. It's even building the APK and all that. So this is like very like Android build artifacts and all that. Yeah, and I guess in our final minutes here, Parker, any refinement you would potentially want to do using AI here?
So I'm not like the most familiar with GitHub Actions specifically. I know we mostly use like Azure, but I guess this would be all right. I mean, you could do something like you could ask it to do like separate jobs or something if you really wanted to. Or
Yeah.
you could ask it to add the one for iOS. Maybe you could ask in the chat window, just be like, or maybe do we want to use the autocomplete? Let's try the autocomplete. Sure. We'll just go down to jobs build. Yeah, maybe go down to the end of this and do like a new line. See if we can like make a new like. I guess you'll have to delete a few spaces.
Well, actually, in this case, Parker, since we are short on time, I'd recommend using the chat because we're probably not even sure how to prompt
Maybe.
autocomplete wise. Maybe just say like in the chat window, can you please remake this with a second job for iOS or something like that? Is that what you're thinking? Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think what you were navigating would be great if we had like 20 more minutes, but since we're down to our last minute.
Yeah, no worries.
So build Android. Nice.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah.
This and other stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that looks about right to me.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not like super familiar with the GitHub Actions, but this is pretty close on the structure of what you would probably really go do if you were going to use something
Nice.
like this. Yeah.
All right, bring it in. Bring it into the file. Let's see it.
Look at that.
Android, yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we are kind of coming up on time, everybody. So thank you so much for listening to our talk and demonstration on mobbing and collaborating with AI on test automation. Maybe if we were to take this one more turn, we might refactor the YAML to have one variable for the version. I saw two duplicates of the version number in there and see what it would come up with. But it was kind of cool to have it make GitHub Actions. We've never done that before. We're learning things on the fly as we are doing this session with y'all. But we'd love to hear your questions, comments in the chat, etc. But thank you so much for your time. Yeah, we'd love to hear feedback and questions. And have a good one, y'all. See you later.
Thanks.